YouTube, it's me, Bergie, and I'm here to discuss my good/great reads of 2017, meaning my 4-star/B-, B, or B+ books that I read in 2017. I've already gone through why I'm going over the 2017 books I read in the previous video, so if you missed that, check that out. But yeah, let's just get into it because I have a lot of books on this list. So first off, we have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I gave this a B+. I had read this to prepare for the Netflix season that was coming out, and boy do I have thoughts on the Netflix season, but that's neither here nor there. This was technically a reread for me, but I had read this I think in 6th grade, so it has been like 6 years since I read it, so I did not really remember what had happened, so that's why it's kind of here instead of in my rereads video. But I will say it wasn't as emotional as the first time I read it. I think the first time I was just shocked at everything, and also I was younger, so I wasn't really expecting what was going on. And it was a lot eerier the first time than the second time. I did read it quite quickly. I did kind of enjoy the different perspectives I guess we got on suicide, I guess, or like the fact that everybody has different consequences for their actions. I know there are a lot of issues with this book, and after seeing the Netflix series and kind of seeing other people's perspectives on the books, I do completely understand them, but I think this book is a great way to start a discussion on this series topic. Next up, we have The Diviners by Libba Bray, which I gave a B+. Now, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but I would knock this grade up, but after having read it, like immediately after reading it, I did think it was good. I gave it a B+ again. I think I said that already. So it was close to being an A or a 5-star read, but I'm very wary of giving 5 stars to books. But anyway, I really enjoyed the characters of this novel. I really enjoyed the plot. It was very engaging, and I think if you are into paranormal fantasy, this is definitely a must read. It's really diverse as well. I don't know if it's as great in this first book, but definitely when you go on to the other books in the series. But I just love this book so much. And honestly, I've realized that I really enjoy Libba Bray as an author. Since 2017, I've read one more book by her, and I had previously read Beauty Queens by her, and I thought in both cases her writing style was very enjoyable, and I just love the way she builds characters and builds plots and that kind of stuff, so I really enjoy this. Next, we have 2 books, well, technically I guess 3 books by Philip Pullman. We have Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and Once Upon a Time in the North. These are all part of his Dark Material series, the first 2 being actual books in the series, the third one, Once Upon a Time in the North, being a short story that is part of the series. I gave these a B+, and B+ respectively. I really enjoyed this series. It's kind of like the Chronicles of Narnia, where it's commenting on religion and I guess seeing it through children's perspectives, and it was really good. I have to say though, I love the Chronicles of Narnia more, but I will say something that this series does better is that it goes a lot deeper, I feel like, into religious discussions, and is not as metaphorical as it is in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Chronicles of Narnia series. I really enjoy the characters. I love the aspect of the demons, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I just thought these books were really good. I definitely recommend it. Next, we have 2 dystopian novels. We have We by Yevgeny Zamyatin and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. We I gave a B+, Brave New World I gave a B-, and I've kind of been judging the dystopians I've been reading in comparison to each other, and I think at this moment in time, We is my favorite dystopian novel. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them at this time because I do really want to start working on my dystopian series, video series that I've been wanting to do, so they're both dystopians. I thought they were both quite good. And if you are into dystopians, these are good ones to check out, because We is pretty much the first modern dystopian that we would recognize, similar to like 1984 by George Orwell. We is kind of the inspiration for how George Orwell visualizes a dystopian world, and same with Brave New World. It's very important in the dystopian kind of catalog, I guess. But that being said, they aren't still the first dystopians out there, which again, not going to go into now. So next we have Arcadia by Ian Pierce. I gave this a B+, and that's purely because this author did so much in this book. It was, I think, around 600, 700 pages, but damn, he tried to put into this book a fantasy world, a science fiction world, a more realistic world. Like, he crammed so many different genres into this book, and it actually ended up working, that I was just so surprised. And it was written very well. I enjoyed the plot. There were some minor issues with some of the aspects in this book. For example, I'm pretty sure he had a 16-year-old end up with like a 27-year-old or something like that, or something extreme like that. There was a huge age gap, and while that's usually common in fantasy books, I just felt awkward reading about it in this, because it takes place kind of in our world at some points, but then goes off into different worlds. But yeah, it's very confusing. I don't want to give any spoilers, so that's why I'm being very vague. But I did think it was very well written, and it achieved the amalgamation of different genres very well. Next we have Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I gave this a B-. I think I read this in a day or two, and her books are just guilty pleasure reads for me. This one was kind of sad because it's about a woman who's kind of having issues with her husband, and kind of took time away to deal with them, or to try to figure out herself before she could like figure out how to save her marriage. And that was kind of sad to read about. And I also thought she made a lot of stupid decisions, but I just thought it was enjoyable. I might, upon reflection, have given this a lower grade, probably a C, but at the time I gave it a B-. Next we have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and I gave this as well a B-. Now, when I went into this, I only knew the basics about how there was a picture that kind of got grotesque when the subject of the painting, Dorian Gray, stayed like forever young. That was all I knew, and I did not realize how that kind of was only the focus for a small percentage of the book, while the rest of the book was kind of just different critiques of the contemporary lifestyle. And I feel like that's something that happens very often in classics. It's more so a critique or a discussion of certain cultural norms during that time. And for that reason, I did give it a lower grade in this B range, but I did still enjoy it. It was quite quick to read. I feel like it was only 150 pages, but I might be wrong. And it's a book that I feel like everybody has heard of, so probably should read just to like get the full story. But that being said, it was okay. I kind of also wanted to read it because I think there's a movie with Ben Barnes in it, and I wanted to see it, but I haven't yet, so yeah. Next we have another dystopian. I have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I thought, again, this was an okay novel. I'm not going to go much into my thoughts because I want to do the whole dystopian thing, but it was better than Brave New World, but not as good as We. And I feel like this is the only true dystopian that I read by a woman, so that was kind of interesting to see how a female kind of portrayed this kind of dystopian world. And yeah, I thought it was good. No more thoughts on it. Next we have, so in the previous video, my Meh Reads of 2017, I was talking about the second book of this series, and I kind of explained why. I was right to remember that was the second book. But anyway, the first book in that series, The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, I gave a B, And as I had briefly mentioned in that other video, I really enjoyed how the author kind of prevented you from knowing who two of the male characters were, and you kind of were guessing at which one was which. I did really think that the kind of love triangle was not overdone in this book, because of course, like, that's a very common trope in YA novels and it gets old pretty quickly, but I feel like having this twist of not knowing which male character was which definitely put this in a made it more unique. So next we have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin O'Leary Sands. I gave this a B-. Now this is an LGBT plus book that I really enjoyed. I don't like romance novels or when the main plot of a book is romance. And with this, even though it kind of was at the forefront of the story, the way it was executed was great for my tastes. It kind of started out as a friendship and then grew realistically into something more. And I feel like this achieved both the relationships and just the portrayal of high school students way better than another popular LGBT plus book, Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, which I think I actually put in the worst books of 2017 earlier this year. But yeah, so this definitely did what I had hoped Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda would have done. So I just enjoyed this book a lot. Next we have Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I gave this a B-, because even though it was a lot easier to read than Stephen Hawking's books on this subject, I still feel like there were elements missing. I think one of the things was that there should have been more diagrams and pictures again to go with what he was talking about. But other than that, he was able to get the scientific information across in a very easy to read and easy to understand way. Just, it would have been better to have more figures to supplement that a little bit more. Next we have The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I gave this a B, and oh my god, I really enjoy Agatha Christie's mystery novels. They are very gripping, and at least for me, I couldn't see what the whole reveal would be, so I really enjoyed it, and I just thought she does mystery books well. I mean, she is kind of the queen of the genre because she has so many books that are mysteries. So yeah, not much to say there. I really enjoyed it. Then we have Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I gave this a B. I grew up with the Jurassic Park movies, and I didn't realize until relatively recently that it was based on a single book. Well, I think there's another book in this series, but I think there's only two. So it was really interesting to read this book, the first one, Jurassic Park. I was very much pissed off with most of the characters in this book. They were all pretty stupid, but I mean, the whole premise really of it is how people are stupid, because why would you bring something that has been extinct for years and is extremely dangerous back to life? And really, the only character I thought was intelligent at all was the one that Jeff Goldblum plays in the movies. I think it was Ian something. I think he was a mathematician or some kind of scientist. I don't remember. He was the only character that I was like, you're not dumb. You're the only smart one there. And he had a lot of different important things in quotes that he said. I loved his character. But everyone else was stupid. But that being said, it was still very enjoyable. And I will say it is kind of scary, but not as scary as I remember the first movies being, because of course I watched those movies when I was quite young. But yeah, so next up we have La Belle Sauvage by Philip Pullman. I forgot to mention this with his other books, but this is his newer series that kind of goes with his Dark Material series. Again, I gave this a B. There were some aspects, especially towards the end, that were kind of confusing for me, so that's why I didn't give it a higher rating. But overall, it was nice to get back into this world and kind of learn more about the background for his Dark Materials series. So I would recommend it, and I am anxious to see what happens in the other 2 books I think there are in the series, but we'll have to wait. I really do think I will pick these books up as they come out. Next we have Dracula by Bram Stoker. I give this a B-. This was written in a very similar vein to Frankenstein, and I have to say I prefer how Mary Shelley did it in Frankenstein much better than Bram Stoker did in Dracula. But that being said, I still thought it was very interesting to read. Again, this is another classic that everybody kind of knows about, but it's kind of been twisted because of the different adaptations that we've kind of been growing up in with culture. But yeah, I thought it was good. It was a great insight into like different psychologies of the human mind or human nature and that kind of stuff, and it was good. I prefer definitely Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. The last one on this list is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I gave this a B-. Now, I don't really remember what happened at all in this book. I just remember that it took me forever to get through it because it had a lot of political aspects to it that were kind of dense and not as gripping as other fantastical elements in fantasies. So I did think it was written okay. I don't remember it being like anything special. And same with the characters. So I'm not sure if I'd continue on with this series. If I do, I'd most definitely have to reread, I think, the first book because I honestly don't remember anything. But let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty sure I've heard a couple of people who like really liked it, and then also people who have really hated it. So I don't know if I should give it another chance. I'm not basing that based on the different reviews I've heard, but because there are just so many other books that I remember that I'm kind of more interested in continuing on in the series. So I don't know if this one was worth my time to reread and to continue on, because again, it did take me forever, I feel like, to read that book, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as I felt like I could have. That being said, it was better than just a meh book for some reason. Don't remember, but I feel comfortable with keeping it at that B- kind of range. But anyway, those are the books that I rated 4 stars or B range rating. So they are definitely books that I would recommend you guys read if you haven't read them already. If you guys have read these books already, please let me know your thoughts. Did you love it like I did, or did you like it like I did? Did you absolutely love any of them? Did you absolutely hate any of them? If so, I would love to discuss your thoughts down below. So yeah, next video that will be coming will be my favorites of 2017. So stay tuned to that because I have a good handful of books that I really loved from 2017. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.